And Steve, it certainly set up as a dramatic finish, and it was to a certain extent, but it could have been even more so after Lawrence takes them 94 yards on 4 plays, which was just inconceivable the way the Ohio State defense had played all night, and then all of a sudden get carved up 4 plays, 94 yards. But then Ohio State's got, not, I don't want to say plenty of time, but they worked their way down the field, hit on some big plays. JK caught 3 passes along the sideline. They're all set up with about 35 to 40 seconds left, and they're at the 22-yard line, something in that range. And instead of Clemson needing to make a play, they have the ball thrown right to them because of the miscommunication between Olave and Fields. It's just unfortunate that it wasn't a play in which both teams are in communication and executing and everything's done correctly, and Clemson makes the stop or makes the play, but just to have a ball floated up in the air and thrown right to the safety is just kind of an unfortunate, regardless of who you're rooting for, unless you're rooting for Clemson. But if you're rooting for Ohio State, or you're just a neutral college football fans that wants to see the best players going up against each other with the game on the line, just to see the miscommunication. Therefore, it was basically just a pitch and catch, like, here's your interception, game over, was very unfortunate.
Yeah, it was a sad way to end the game, certainly. If it's one thing, if they get down there and lose the ball on downs and just can't convert, and they had to have a 6-point touchdown to tie the game, and an extra point would have won it. Unfortunate the way that it happened. They went back to the well with the same play that they had taken the lead on early in the fourth quarter with the post to Olave. And a lot of people have screenshotted that play and noticed that Clemson was rushing 4, had dropped 7 into coverage. They had 2 deep safeties, and then the other 5 were all in zone coverage underneath. And even with that, it was a very soft zone. He had outlets to the left. Wide receiver or tight end was open in the left flat. And he also had Dobbins again that he could have dumped it off to in the right flat had he needed to. Olave was running free down the middle of the field. And in some misunderstanding or miscommunication, he thought that Fields was breaking off the play and was going to probably roll out back to his left and scramble and try and keep the play alive. So he broke off of his route. Fields saw that he was wide open and threw it to him down the middle. And the only one there was the safety Turner, who came over from the left side of the formation and was basically in center field and the only player in the frame, and caught the ball. And, unfortunate. And, again, as Ryan Day said after the game, they were playing football and the clock is running. Although it wasn't running at the start of that play. I think Ohio State was coming out of a timeout. But it's a frenetic end-of-the-game situation. 67,000 people inside of the dome are all screaming and making noise, and it's just a difficult environment at the end of the game. And you just give Clemson credit, I suppose. I mean, they had the drive to win the game, obviously, and then did just enough, at the end to hold Ohio State out of the end zone. He was masterful leading them down the field on that last drive, hit Dobbins, even getting out of bounds 3 times down the sideline. I mean, conserved the clock. There was nothing you could have quibbled about. It was, I think the 23-yard line was where they got to on the last possession. And, we're looking good. It seemed like they were going to have a shot. It was 1st and 10 at the 26, and then he ran for 3 yards, and he had to scramble for 3 yards on first down. And they called timeout, and plenty of time, and could have picked up another first down and still thrown the ball in the end zone 3 or 4 times and had a chance to win it. And you like Ohio State's chances in that situation, given the magic, with a Hill or an Olave, even Ben Victor. I mean, any of those guys could have been the hero. And just unfortunate the way that it came down. And again, that's what happens when you're in a late game, final minute situation in a loud stadium. And, if you're playing at home in that situation, the stadium is deathly quiet, because they want you to hear your signals and get, the band's not playing. I mean, there's nothing going on. and you have a better chance in that situation at home in that situation. But in that bowl game neutral site, it was just the place was rocking, and that's what happens. I mean, mistakes happen in those situations, and Ohio State didn't get the happy ending that they were hoping for.
Well, one way or the other, Ohio State football annals would have to be rewritten with a historic victory or defeat. But the way this one ended certainly makes it one of the most bitter defeats in the history of Ohio State football, gunning for a national championship, a very complete season in which the offense and defense and special teams just went full throttle almost every game and down the stretch against the likes of Penn State, Michigan, and Wisconsin before falling to Clemson late and not making the plays necessary to win the game. Certainly looked like the best team in the country for most of that game, but many of us will see what happens on this next Monday night to discount what could have been the best two teams in the country playing in that game, possibly